Concerns about Pete Hegseth, and have you picked up on something that we've been hearing in the reporting about Pete Hegseth, and that is that Trump world is putting a lot of pressure on some of these Republican senators to get to yes on Hegseth. Are you hearing any of that?
There's no question that Donald Trump is heightening the heat, turning up the screws, and to some extent turning the tide for Hegseth. Part of the threat is that they will encounter primaries in their states. Their fear is not Democratic opposition in these red states. It's the threat of a primary against them, inspired and supported by Donald Trump. But they remain deeply concerned and troubled. I think that's an understatement by his clear lack of qualifications and the serious allegations of alcohol abuse and sexual impropriety. You know, he's never managed a organization of larger than 50 or so employees with minuscule budgets compared to the $900 billion budget and 3 million military men and women that he'd be responsible for as Secretary of Defense. And those organizations that he has run, actually, he has run them into the ground, squandering assets and revenues. So I think that the tie between financial mismanagement, sexual improprieties, alcohol abuse, we don't want a Secretary of Defense who's impaired for 1 minute because he's on call every minute of the day and night. And I think those concerns continue to be on the minds of my Republican colleagues, and Donald Trump has yet to overcome them. So I think there is still a significant chance, in fact, I might even put it better than 50-50, that Hegseth will not be confirmed.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes me want to ask about your reaction to what Senator Lindsey Graham said earlier this morning, that he's much better off this week than he was last week. I suppose it doesn't necessarily mean that he's guaranteed to be confirmed, but I guess you're disputing this sense that his prospects are brighter this week, or what is your sense of it?
His prospects are brighter this week, but by no means a lock on confirmation. There are still Republicans who, if we had a secret ballot, would vote against him. 5 to 10 of them who have expressed to me that they really dislike and are opposed to Hegseth. But whether they'll vote for him really depends on whether they show the backbone and spine and vote on principle, not on politics.
And Senator, I want to ask you about something else. Over the weekend, Trump said members of the January 6th committee should go to jail. And you have said before that you oppose President Biden issuing preemptive pardons for Trump's rivals. Do you still feel that way? I mean, what are your concerns if you have the president-elect, and it is a kind of an extraordinary thing to hear a president-elect talk in this fashion, about wanting to see lawmakers go to jail? Wouldn't it make sense to offer some preemptive pardons to some of those individuals?
I strongly oppose preemptive pardon. First of all, it's in some ways going to be perceived as an implicit acknowledgement of guilt. I'm a former prosecutor, United States Attorney, Chief Federal Prosecutor in Connecticut, and State Attorney General for 20 years. I know, and people should know, that walking into a courtroom and making charges is far from proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. There is no evidence of wrongdoing against those members of the January 6th committees who brought those impeachment articles or who prosecuted them. And the likely beneficiaries of preemptive pardons would be the top echelon, and the underlings would still have the fear of that kind of prosecution. But let's have faith in the criminal justice system and the standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I think any such unfounded, unjust charges against people who simply did their jobs would ultimately cause a backlash against Donald Trump, because there will be acquittals, and the costs of their defense or investigation, I think, should be borne by a defense fund. I'd certainly contribute, or by a pro bono legal team. I'd sign up, count me in, because I think they are on the right side, and we ought to make these cases a test case for the principle of justice.
And Senator, I do want to ask you about online safety because so many parents out there, including myself, are very concerned about online safety for our kids. And over the weekend, Elon Musk and the CEO of X praised a bill you are proposing and pushed the House to pass it. The bill faces an uphill battle there over censorship concerns. But Speaker Mike Johnson saying, quote, "I love the principle, but the details of that are very problematic." What's your response to that, and what's your sense of this Online Safety Act legislation?
You know, the details, Jim, have been resolved and worked over and edited over the last 2-3 years by myself and Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee, in a very methodical and resolute way. The Elon Musk endorsement, I really appreciate his stepping forward along with Linda Yaccarino and dispelling any doubt that this bill fully supports free expression and the First Amendment. Elon Musk is the champion among big tech executives of First Amendment values and principles. And what we have done in some of our changes is to make clear that there's no effect of censorship, and the opposition from big tech spending millions of dollars on lobbyists and lawyers is simply the result of their desire to continue to profit by driving toxic content at kids. Your concern as a parent, my concern is mirrored by countless parents across the country, a diverse coalition that enabled us to win in the United States Senate 91-3. I hope we'll give it a vote in the House. It'll pass overwhelmingly. Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be cleaned up, and we've got to better protect our kids. There's just so much dangerous content out there, and the addictive nature of these apps and so on just makes it just a mess for parents out there. Senator Blumenthal, thanks very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.